today where we have such an abundance of events. Back then it was the one and only. It was in the highest town in America, and it was built on the backbone of the Leadville Trail 100 run. And then you pull in athletes like Rebekah Rush and Lance Armstrong that started to gravitate to the event, and its spot on the map around the globe just soared.
Good morning, Leadville family! Welcome to the 29th running of the Race Across the Sky. We are so honored that you are here with us. So dig deep out there, ride safe, ride smart, ride Leadville strong. We love you. We'll be waiting for you here at the finish line.
I think we are built by our culture in ways. We thrive because we connect and bond in that group. Take it back to who built this town. The most rugged, the most gritty. These trails that people are riding on and running on are built on the backs of miners. And they're built on the backs of a bunch of strong women. There's a moment in there when it got really dark and really hard, and the demons show up. But you start to divert away from all the negative internal talk to begin to recognize that you're already different. You've already changed. You can show up in hard places. For everything that's come before this, and for the moments right now, for all the hours you've trained, how does it become something bigger than myself?
So we just came off the pavement coming up Hagerman Pass Road.
How do I translate that into my community, into my family, into my work, and bring it back? That's what I hope.
So the last week's number multiplied by 0.0106.
Okay.
Since it was down 0.6 percentage points.
I was actually a financial journalist in my past life. I have had races where I've gone to and have had like major deadlines, and that can be very hard. This is kind of like just not a bad distraction. It's like a good reason to sit down. I've always been an endurance athlete. I was a pretty serious high school runner. Actually, when I was a journalist, I was in France. A man hired some pros to go with him so he could do every stage of the tour a day ahead of the pros. And I showed up to cover the story, was going to ride along, was the only woman. They even said, like, when you get too tired, you can just hop in the van. I ended up out climbing them, and one of the former pros, this Belgian guy, just looked at me and he said, "You're really good, you should do this." All right, you want to go over the macro tracker really quick? Sure. Okay. I was on staff with Money Magazine, CNN. I was a contributing editor to Barron's, Wall Street Journal, and now I act as a managing editor within a very large financial organization that I can't really name without getting their permission, so I'm not going to.
Have a good weekend ride doing scary things with your body. All right, good luck.
Bye. They have no idea. When it comes to pressure, this is where I feel like I'm kind of lucky because I have a day job. I'm not relying on my results or making sponsors super happy to pay my mortgage. So any pressure that I have is pressure I put on myself. My first strategy is to just not think. My other strategy is to think about people who've helped me along the way and wanting to finish the race for them. Also think about the people who aren't pros and are doing a race that's going to take hours and hours longer than my race will. That is what is so fun about Leadville and all the races that I do, is that anyone can do them. It's not the Tour de France. We're sharing an experience, but everyone has their own version of suffering. And that, I think, it makes it even more rich. It's a wonderful expression of humanity.
I meet a friend at every race that I've been at so far this year. We're all doing the same hard thing, so. I don't know, is it trauma bonding? We all have the same course, and so it's fun to see the pros walking around and being able to ask them anything, like back when you were normal, tell me, any tips that you have or whatever. And then you realize, like, they're just humans, man, just like us. Like, I think that's the cool part. Just people. And I think I have a unique perspective because my sister's one of them.
Who's taller?
I'm half an inch taller than you. Don't even play.
Look at this. We're both at Birkenstocks on. I'm taller. Am I taller? Who's taller? Yeah.
Everything we do, we're trying to help people and enable and empower people to live a healthy way of life. Not enough fandom around cycling to support, especially what we're doing on the professional side. If we couldn't do it with the everyday athletes that are just trying to accomplish something to live a healthy way of life.
I mean, I'm winning. That's all we need to know.
He's like a rectangle.
Oh my God.
I know, this dog, I looked right into its too. Don't. There's so much poop on it.
What is he? Who are you?
No.
Heads up.
Oh, no.
There are two of you.
Dylan's taking our bikes.
Okay, I'm gonna go get a phone to call these people.
This race, this is the one for me. Sorry, the dogs were a lot.
Thank you.
There's like a rectangle-shaped poodle.
Yeah.
Okay. Bottles.
Pipeline, whatever.
I've gotten second, third, and fourth now. So this is my fourth time doing it. Hopefully I don't get fifth. Hopefully I get first, looks like. And this goes into this pocket, this goes into this pocket, and this is what I'm getting at this aid. The Grand Prix is a long series. We have like the race day of Leadville, and then there's also like the standings too. That definitely like favors consistency, which I think I've shown I'm pretty consistent. But we're all separated by such a small margin. It's like constant pressure.
I am stressed. 2 weeks ago, I was a hot mess. I'm trying to put my best foot forward and know that I have worked really hard to get to where I am and lean into that a little bit more.
I'm gonna actually be really anal and just make sure that the bottles are closed.
Yeah.
It's like my worst nightmare, but
And I'll keep.
I don't think it's a race where pressure helps at all. So I've actually spent the last few weeks working on removing that pressure and just going in knowing that anything can happen, and I'm ready and excited for that challenge.
Hannah is coming in as defending champ, amazing mountain biker. She's gonna be wanting to defend that title for sure.
When I came into the Grand Prix, I didn't have any expectations. I mean, my goal was to do the best I could, and I had no idea how I would stack up to these incredible women. I mean, on paper, I don't think I'm stacking up the best.
One bad day, it affects your series.
There's 3 more races left that I'm targeting. Leadville, the Rad, and Big Sugar. And that's 3 more opportunities to see if I can make my way up any higher in the Grand Prix standings.
I feel like I have a lot left to give for this race season. I do feel the pressure for the rest of the season for sure, because I already used a drop race and I didn't do as well as I was hoping to at Kraushaar.
I feel like I somehow always put myself into situations like this. It's not fun, but it's motivating.
I have a road background. I did not sign up for the Lifetime Series last year because I did not feel like my bike handling off-road skills were in a good enough place to even do a mountain bike race. I was afraid, actually. I was afraid of mountain biking. I think a lot of that stems from my traumatic brain injury in 2016. I suffered a nearly fatal traumatic brain injury at a road race. I had to be airlifted to the ICU. I spent 2 months at a rehabilitation center in Colorado, and that's where I told myself I don't ever want to see a bike again. Once I was discharged, that feeling didn't last for very long because I really love riding my bike. Over the next 2 years, I used cycling more as like a measuring stick throughout my recovery. I really just wanted to return to where I was before the crash. And I was able to do that and then get even better and better and better.
Just did the Leadville stage race to prepare for this race. So yeah, I did more mountain biking last weekend than in my entire life combined.
One of the main reasons I never went headfirst into mountain biking was because of a fear of crashing again. But this year we decided to look at that fear straight in the eye, and I don't want it to be something that holds me back for the rest of my life. I thought it would be a good obstacle to overcome, and I really love obstacles. The recovery from the traumatic brain injury was the hardest thing I've done in my entire life. So now though, on my bike, when it starts to hurt, I have to remind myself the difference between that, which I call suffering, versus the temporary pain that I'm experiencing during an effort. If I could go back in time and not be in that crash, I don't know if I would. I think it made me the person that I am today.
So we just came off the pavement, coming up the climb out of Turquoise Lake. They've turned onto Hagerman Pass Road, a little over a mile up to the infamous left-hand hairpin onto Sugarloaf.
It looks like we have Sofia Vishafanye and Alexis Scarter. They went 1-2 at Sea Otter, and they are our lead women.
Sofia Gomez Villafane is certainly the favorite right now. She participated in the Leadville stage race, which was essentially a test event for her, and she won every stage and was able to preview the course at race pace. Having done that, I think that's a power move. It's a statement.
Sofia's obviously crushing it. I mean, she's won all of the points that she could have in the Grand Prix right now. Knowing Sofia, that's not enough. She wants to win all of them. Of course she does. I don't know if she will. Maybe, maybe not.
Alexis is the rider who has the best chance of beating Sofia. I think they will both be motivated to ride as hard as they can as they approach the power line descent.
Alexis Scarta is definitely gonna give her a run. She's calm, cool, and collected, and the woman can just climb like an animal.
We've been pretty good for this race about trying to balance focusing on the race and all the other stuff that can be distracting.
These two women came down power line together, and the women's field not far behind.
Sarah Sturm, she's been on the podium at this race a couple times. I know last year it really stressed her out. She really wanted to win this thing. She worked through a lot of those stressors and she figured out how to make this work and how to make it fun.
Sofia is doing exactly what she should. She needs to keep the pace as high as possible so that the women who are chasing, they aren't making up time.
I definitely have that like rebellious, like the Lifetime Grand Prix sort of feels like that teacher in school like assigning reading and you're like, well, I was gonna read those books anyway, but now I don't want to do them.
This is the women's chase group.
You know what's unique with this group? I think this is all women, which is pretty cool to see a group of them get together and duke it out together, work together. Obviously they're working together well.
Every race is a new and different opportunity. We have all kinds of people from the gravel scene, from the road scene that have come in and made a big name for themselves.
We have eyes right now on Haley Smith, who just returned from racing at the Mountain Bike Marathon World Championships in Glasgow.
My season is not defined by a leaderboard, and how I feel about my racing is not defined by the leaderboard. I'm a competitor and I want to be in the race, but I have so much respect for the altitude here and for the event that I can't have any sort of placing goals.
So we are over the single track descent. We've got our lead women just coming out of the trees here.
I think that I've actually gotten the best out of myself that I can on each of my race days, but I have not yet arrived at a Lifetime race ready. I've not arrived feeling like how I know I can feel and being ready to perform. So that's just frustrating, I guess.
Our fourth place women, Haley Smith is in this group descending the single track.
Haley, I think, is Miss Consistency and only getting stronger.
The most significant part of Leadville is the Columbine climb, and the two of them can now relax a little bit, hydrate, eat, stay with this group, save some energy, and put themselves into a physiological position to have their best Columbine climb possible.
So those are the two lead women.
We've had 3 women come through. We just saw Ruth Winder come through. She's in 3rd. She's about a couple minutes off of Sofia and Alexis, who are in 1st and 2nd. So it just got very exciting. Haley and Sophie, we're only at mile 40, and so much can happen. And who's going to get up Columbine? And really, like, who's going to descend Columbine well? Because some of the girls that have passed are really good mountain bikers. Some of them are like newer mountain bikers.
When the women went through the Twin Lakes aid station, they were 9 minutes ahead of last year's time check at that point. So going a little bit faster than last year's pace.
In Leadville or in these long events, every single person wants to quit at some point, including the person at the front. And I'll even think, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And then I'll think, oh gosh, if I'm winning, I can't stop.
Our women's leader on Columbine, this is Sofia Gomez Villafane, just a little bit back, Alexis Skarda, and then Ruth Winder. They look to be pretty equally spaced, but Sofia looks to be riding and climbing very strong.
You know, imagine what the person hundreds of people back feel like.
Sophia's like 10, 11 minutes ahead of last year's pace right now.
Whether you're out there for 7, 8 hours, or you're out there for 12, 13, 14 plus, whatever it is, I mean, everyone's going through the same exact thing, and that's very unusual in most sports.
As you turn around at the top of Columbine Mine, you start this descent. It's a screaming descent. You see the uphill riders. She has to stay right. You have to hope that all those uphill riders are staying right.
The people that are out there for 16, 17 hours, that's a way harder day than the athletes who are finishing in under 8 hours.
As we're working our way back down the Columbine descent on the road, following Sofia, It's pretty cool to see, we've got, I think, 1,600 age group riders out here today. This is a monumental challenge for some people, and the experience these people are having out here, they may hate us at the moment on this climb, but very few of them will go away and say this didn't change their life in some positive way.
Kenny! Let's go, Sofia. Nice work. Nice work.
I love Leadville because it's an out and back. Some people think it's boring, but for me, community and cycling is really special and important. In Leadville, you get to see literally everybody that's out there racing their bike, and I really, really enjoy that. And then you go through all the feed zones, and it's just like so many people cheering and having a good time, whether you're racing or just hanging out. To me, there's a lot of reasons why it seems so special.
So in the split, we've got Sofia Gomez Villafane in first. A minute and a half back was Ruth Winter. In third, last year's second place finisher, Alexis Skarda. Fourth is Haley Smith. And in fifth is Hannah Otto.
I think it would be really easy to have the fact that I am the defending champion be a lot of pressure on my back, but instead I'm turning that into confidence because I know that I have what it takes to win because I've done it already.
Sofia Gomez Villafane has dominated the scene this year. A first place at Seattle, a first place at Kraushaar and the Tusher, a second place at Unbound, but first in the GP. She's just had such a great season. And look at this, Ruth Winter coming to challenge.
My goals for Leadville have always been to race well here. I live in Colorado and I have always heard about this race ever since I really started bike racing. It's kind of a big, iconic thing. And definitely when I stopped World Tour racing, it was kind of on my calendar of things I wanted to do.
If we could think of another rider that was really going to give Sofia and Alexis Skarda a run for their money, I expect it would be Ruth. But we haven't really seen that pinnacle performance out of her. She's hungry for a big win at a big event.
We just got our eyes on Sofia, but we can see Ruth here coming in.
This is an incredible race for her today. She had a bad day and did not finish Seattle. She was actually on a great day at Unbound, but ultimately had to pull out of the race.
My season has been getting, I think, a little bit better. It definitely started out rocky. I had an injury before Seattle. I've been racing my bike for 15 years and luckily had a pretty good career up until this point.
It looks like she's with two men. She is driving hard on the pace.
And sometimes you have really good years in bike racing and sometimes you just kind of feel like you're hitting your head against a brick wall.
Sofia right now in the lead solo, and she's got quite the racer chasing her down.
You just kind of have to ride with it and trust the process.
They crossed the railroad tracks and headed towards the boulevard on the pavement. Ruth is about 42 seconds down on Sofia. They're both motoring, but we'll see what happens when they hit that rough stuff at the bottom of the boulevard.
I'm an athlete, I like to compete, I like to be really good at the sport. It's what makes me go out and train really hard all the time. Just to perform well at a high altitude race in the mountains would be really special.
Oh, Ruth is right here. I think she's down to about 20-some seconds.
Sofia just trying to do everything she can. But they just took the left-hand turn onto the boulevard.
Oh, she's right there.
Oh my goodness. Sofia just looked over her left-hand shoulder. She sees Ruth coming. Suddenly, we have a solid race for first place.
Here's a little irony. We hit the smooth part and Sofia just stomped on the gas pedal and is gone.
Ruth has had great performances on the front end of the event, but from what we've seen, Sofia's a bit stronger over the longer distances.
Oh, Sofia, look at her cadence. I mean, she's just cruising right now. This is just really impressive to see her at the end like this. I just don't see it coming back together.
Sofia hit the pavement, out of the saddle.
This is a big one, especially after coming off of last year and not finishing this race. She's got to be stoked.
Let's make some noise for your Leadville Women's Champion. It looks like it's going to be the woman in red for Specialized, Sofia Gomez.
Last year, Hannah won in 7:25. Sofia just did that in 7:09.
I'm really happy with how I did today, and that's not just the result. I had this motto going in that was smile through the suffering.
Let's see it from Ruth Winder, your number 2 winner.
So close to a win for Ruth Winder. We got to take our hats off for making this such a thrilling finish.
And the way that I got second, I think a lot of people were cheering for me and came up to me afterwards and like, that was so exciting. And I think it's like I said a little bit ago about community and bikes, and cycling can be so many things for so many different people, and that's one of the reasons this sport is so cool and beautiful.
While we were watching the race for first and second, we did not realize that this was unfolding behind. We've got Hannah Otto with Alexis Skarda on her wheel.
It looks like we're going to have a sprint for third.
Alexis putting in a little bit of a move here. I just saw Hannah's head drop.
Just dropped her head.
Alexis Skarda is going to take the final podium spot today.
What is the moment for you when you feel like it was all worth it?
Oh, every time somebody comes across the line, there's no question about it. You know, it's about the people.
There's your top 4 for the women. Alexis and Hannah.
Congratulations. We're proud of you.
Ken and Marilee have been encouraging every single one of us for years. And to watch them and to see the people come across in that whole piece, so both their finish and getting to see Ken and Marilee have that joy as well of kind of their hope that they'll get as many people across as possible. That whole thing is magic.
Years ago, like I never ever thought I'd even do a mountain bike race, let alone the Leadville 100. Yeah, it's the Leadville 100.
It's 105 miles of some of the craziest terrain out there.
And the people finishing just look so haggard, but you know, they're doing it and it's special to them in their own right.
That's why there's like so much ecstasy when you cross that finish line.
You know, the mass participation athletes, they're amazed that these pros can finish Leadville in 6 hours and a few minutes. Yet those pros that finish in 6 hours are just as blown away that there are athletes that can stay out there till 12 hours and ride their bike that long. There's absolutely a mutual respect.
Along with Keegan, Sofia continues her reign despite the amazing efforts of Ruth Winder today. Alexis Skarda has consistently been right there with Sofia in the races, and I'm guessing she's looking for these last 3 races as an opportunity to take the win. It all unfolds with Schwamigan Fat Tire Festival, the Rad Dirt Fest, and the finale at Big Sugar Gravel. Stay tuned and see you out there.